Indonesia so much. So this book will be launched tonight, and here Mark is accompanied by my good friend, and also of course a good friend of Mark, Ibu Eveleigh, and she is also a very well-known ethnographer, and she has written a book, also some books, yeah. And I myself also read her books. Especially, I'm very interested in his book, this book about biak, yeah. And it is very much also touch my myself as Indonesian, how she cares about the destination Indonesia that need to be revealed and and then to be known by Indonesians, and especially, but of course, by international travelers. So thank you everyone for to be here with us to witness the momentous event tonight to launch the book. And for this, of course, this event is a collaboration between Eveleigh Channel and the publisher of this book. That the title of this book is Kopi Dulu. And Mark will explain why he chose the title, of course, the Kopi Dulu in Bahasa. And this is the collaboration between the Eveleigh Channel and publisher of Penguin Random House, Southeast Asia. And for this, I would like to invite the representative of the publisher of this book, the Penguin Random House Southeast Asia, will be represented by Nora Nazarin Abu Bakar. And time is yours, Ibu, ma'am, to give some opening remarks and directly launch this book. Time is yours.
Good evening, everyone. I am Nora Nazarin, publisher of Penguin Random House Southeast Asia. Thanks for joining us this evening as we celebrate Mark Eveleigh's insightful and fascinating book, Kopi Dulu. Since our launch in 2019, Penguin Random House Southeast Asia has been looking out for and publishing diverse voices and stories across Southeast Asia. We are proud that our books are able to transcend boundaries and take the literature and culture of the region to a wider audience. Kopi Dulu is one man's labor of love and his dedication to his home away from home, Indonesia. A well-known, seasoned travel writer and photographer, Mark Eveleigh led a nomadic life that led him on expeditions and travels all over the world. But it was Indonesia that took his heart. Mark's fascination for Indonesia and travel is everywhere. His written work has appeared in the BBC, Telegraph, Guardian, Independent, National Geographic Traveller, Condé Nast Traveller, and CNN. In Kopi Dulu, readers will be enthralled by his version of the Emerald of the Equator as it takes them through the country's culture, geography, food, traditions, and everything else in between. We are glad that with Eveleigh and Denny Rajaguguk's support, we are able to talk about this book with local Indonesians and everyone else who has taken the time to join us from other parts of the world tonight. I am thrilled to see so many of you here. I would also like to thank Kinokuniya Indonesia, who are our book partners for this event. Without further ado, I now proudly launch Kopi Dulu by Mark Eveleigh. Saipul, if you could please play the video for all of us. Thank you.
Put it here so I could see.
Yes, too.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you very much to Mark, especially as the author of the book, and then Penguin Random House that has already launched the book. So we can give applause, yeah? So we officially that already launched this book, yeah? So thank you.
Yay! Congratulations, Mark.
After such a long time.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations, Mark, that your book has already
Thank
been
you very
launched
much.
and ready to be enjoyed, yeah, especially by Indonesians and or international readers.
Thank you.
Course. Yeah, congratulations. So yeah, this is fascinating moment, yeah.
And thank you for a beautiful introduction, Nora.
Yeah.
I think you said it better than I was going to say it.
Yeah. Thank you, Mark. But sorry, Mark, we couldn't really hear you clearly. Maybe your connection, yeah.
Okay, I was just saying thank you for a beautiful introduction, Nora. I think you said it better than I could have done.
Yes, thank you, Ibu Nora. Yeah, so yeah, as mentioned by Ibu Nora, yeah, I actually have received already the book, yeah, even it's not launched yet. I have the privilege to of this book. So thank you very much for Penguin Random House for sending this, and also for Mark. So I have read the book. And then, of course, some touching stories, yeah? So, Mark, can you tell us about this book, actually? What inspired you? Of course, as mentioned by Nora, you love Indonesia, that it took your heart, you know? So, can you tell why did you write this book? Why Indonesia? What inspired you? What your goals, yeah? Can you explain us?
Okay, there's a lot of questions all at one go there, but I'll do my best. So, well, as you pointed out, I've been a travel writer for some books and mostly magazines and newspapers for about 25 years. And sometimes people ask me, let me put you in the picture a little bit. Sometimes people ask me, what's my favorite country? And when they say that, normally I cheat and I say, look, if I had to travel to only one country for the rest of my life, I would travel in Indonesia. You can hear me okay, yeah?
Yes, Mark. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, you could travel in Indonesia, I think, for the rest of your life and not see the same thing twice. There's so much scope there. There's incredible amount of variety. The official count at the moment is about 13,466 islands, but nobody really knows it. Sometimes it's anywhere between 13,000 and 18,000, such a huge country. It's safe to say maybe only 8 or 10 have big numbers of tourists, maximum. It's the 4th biggest country in the world by population, and yet there's 12,000 permanently uninhabited islands there. An absolute world of adventure. I couldn't write about everything in this book, but after what I wanted to do kind of was capture some of the highlights of 25 years of traveling there, the most exciting places that I could come across. So the book Kopi Dulu is about my journey through Indonesia, taking kilometers of the country, 15,000 kilometers of the country, traveling on roads, rail, boats, often on foot also. And what I really wanted to do was to there. And yet there's so much scope. And I really wanted Kopi Dulu to put the word out to travelers that there's just so much to see there. I remember Evie asked me a while back, what this thing was about Indonesia being such an invisible country. I remember the first time we met, Evie, I remember you had said that when foreigners sometimes ask you where you live, you would say Indonesia.
Yeah.
And they would be like, Indonesia? And you'd say, yeah, it's kind of next to Bali. And then they're like, okay, now I know where Indonesia is.
Yeah.
We need to get the word out there that there's, an entire world of adventure in Indonesia. Huh? So that's basically why I wrote the book.
Yeah, very nice. Yeah, of course, as an Indonesian, I myself personally, I should thank you. Yeah, because to be honest, when I read the book, even myself, I was embarrassed. Actually, I didn't know the names of Wakatobi. Actually, it is an abbreviation of some islands. Yeah, Wakatobi.
Yeah.
It was, to be
Yeah.
honest, as old as I am, I didn't know that actually. So until I read your book, So it's an embarrassing for me. Yeah, sorry, but Pak Andriano, I'm sorry if I didn't know that actually. Adalah singkatan ya. Yeah. So it's a very inspiring book. Yeah, I think for me too. So thank you very much, yeah, Mark. So, but now my question is, why did you choose Kopi Dulu? Because I know, for me, because I also a coffee lover, yeah. Indonesia nowadays getting trendy about coffee, and you are very smart, to choose the title. And I think Random House is quite smart, yeah, to agree with the title, because Kopi Dulu. But what is it? Why did you choose Kopi Dulu for the title?
Okay, sure. But before, I should probably point out, any strictly Indonesian readers there, you maybe shouldn't get too excited at the moment, because basically the only Indonesian in the book is Kopi Dulu, and then it's all English after that. But so Kopi Dulu means coffee first, and anybody who knows me knows that I'm a bit of a caffeine addict, as you might have noticed already. But for me, Kopi Dulu became a catchphrase as I country. It means coffee first. And everywhere you go, any Indonesian village, any city, anywhere you actually sit down and start talking to people, very often it's like, Kopi Dulu, let's have a coffee, we'll talk, take it easy, don't need to rush. It's such a nice, for me, it's a feeling of the hospitality of the country. People are so hospitable. That's one aspect of it. Also, for ice breaking, if I would arrive in a remote community, it's I wouldn't say it's intimidating for me, because I think I traveled enough and know that people are always friendly.
Mark, we can't really hear you clearly. Maybe
you can turn off the video, Mark. Sorry. Sorry, everyone, because there's something happened with the connection in South Africa at the moment now. Mark in South Africa. Yes, now.
Did I get you? Did you lose me?
Yeah, now it's okay. Yeah, you can continue.
Yeah, you're back.
I'm back. Did you hear any of that?
You can switch off the video. Yeah.
How much of that did you catch?
Mark, can you just turn off the video, maybe?
Yeah, sure. I can, but my screen is frozen.
Yeah, Zoom.
As soon as the screen opens, I will close the video.
That's the problem with Zoom.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think
let me try with a different connection.
Yeah. While waiting for Mark, I think I would like to invite also some maybe if you guys ladies and gentlemen here, if you have some questions or some opinions or remarks or insights, you can write it on the chat.
Or you can raise the hand.
You can raise your hand while waiting for Mark. Or maybe I can invite first while you are raising your prepare your questions. Then I can invite Mbak Evi first. Yeah, is that okay? Yeah, Mark. Okay, Mbak Evi, what do you think about this book? Because I think many of these participants are your good friends, yeah? Maybe you can tell about this book from your perspective as an ethnographer, yeah? Because I know you love this country, how much you love the destination here in Bali, in Indonesia. So maybe you can tell about this book more.
Yeah, thank you, Danny, and congratulations for Mark. Yeah, I've been know Mark maybe more than 14 years, I guess. Yeah, we met at the first time in Flores Islands, which that moment the transportation system, not only the air but also land transportation is not really good, since it's like what happened today. The development in Flores Island is very aggressive. So from the titles, the book Kopi Dulu, it's like the books. We imagine the books like talking about the coffee, which in Indonesia now many the new coffee shop built on. So many people already asked me, is that the books about the coffee? No, that's not about the coffee or the regions, the coffee itself. Yeah, but it's very surprised me when I read that book. I just know that Mark really loved Indonesia. It's like his second hometown. So I'm very proud to know him, and so very proud that my friends also love my country so much, as his nation. So this book is all you will find that many stories. It's like Mark travelogues, he's a professional travel writer, so who already have more than 500 assignments for a global publication. So we will can find how is he get into it in every assignment he run to, especially in the whole region in Indonesia. So we can get the highlights for the untouched or even remote area. And it's like, for example, when he doing expeditions in Borneo, and then he also write the book after that. The title is Fever Tree of Borneo. That's will tell you about how is the expeditions, how is his encounter with the region who very famous as a head hunter. So this is book also interesting me, how is Mark make a social encounter to Indonesian social system, and then also the culture. That's he learns about how is Indonesia have a jam karet pelan-pelan, and then also surprised me. He also connect Makassar as a city in one city in Sulawesi to his little story, personal story to his grandmother, who have a chair cover, whose name is Auntie Makassar. So that's in that books, Marx also can very perfectly serve the story with the humor as the style he is. So that's very interesting book, and I believe Indonesia also can learn from him. How is we can find many interesting story from the remote area of Indonesia that maybe we haven't hear before or we visit before as Indonesia, like how is his encounter with rhino, orangutan. We have a first experience on it, and also how is his encounter with the lack of the challenging of the bahasa, which Indonesia have many different bahasa in much area, and then also he's really want to see to find something in Manokwari, and also in the line of Wallace Islands line during Racer Sunda Islands. That's very interesting book, and I believe it's not only about the the style of Mark, but also Indonesia can find more Indonesia, more deeply. Itu dan mungkin itu ya.
Mbak Evi, of course, because you know Mark for such a long time. how his spirit, how his passion for Indonesia. So I think this is a good collaboration, between Mark and Mbak Evi. So
that's why I appreciate it. Yeah.
Okay, Mark. Now we have you here. Are you okay with the signal there now?
Yeah, sorry about that. I switched to a completely different one. So we'll. Hopefully you caught most of my answer last time. Sorry about that.
You said the last time here that you sit down and talk with people to share a cup of
coffee. Did you hear the comment?
Thank you, Mbak Evi. Thank you, Mark. Now we have a question here, Mark, from Jenny Ortueste, from Philippines. Jenny said that, hi, hello, I'm Jenny from the Philippines, a book reviewer. I would like to ask Mark, what is your biggest takeaway from the book for the reader? What's the number one thing you want them to carry away after reading the book? Very interesting question.
Okay. Yeah, it's a very good question. So the book has a pretty wide scope. I mean, there's so many islands, but the book takes in a voyage actually through about 100 islands, but I actually wrote about 50. I suppose if there's one big takeaway, having done all of that trip, there are so many places that I have in mind that I would like to go back, that I had a fairly limited time to explore, to get to know the people or to see the wildlife or something. And there are so many places that I would like to go back to see in more depth. So I suppose if there's one takeaway from the book, it might be that I feel like every little island in Indonesia, especially where you find a local community, there is always something absolutely fascinating there. I think if you hang around a little bit and you look into stories and you ask what's going on, everywhere has its own unique fascination. I think that's the thing. You could explore Indonesia as much as you want, and there's just so much to see. Especially if you get involved in the local culture, or you're looking for the unique wildlife, that kind of thing.
So true. I think, Jenny, because I also read the book. So how very detailed actually Mark wrote about his experience. Even the stories about the Bataknis, the cannibals in Tuk Tuk Samosir Islands. You just explained that very nicely and detailed. But even I, as a Bataknis, didn't know until I read the book. So the stories that you, I think you have a very much also literature of the literature review, of course. When you explain about details about the in North Sumatra, in Tuk Tuk Island, Samosir, it's fascinated me actually, Mark, how you wrote the books, into very interesting.
Maybe I can I maybe on the line, that even a relatively small island can be absolutely fascinating. So just to add to Jenny's question, there was a very small island in the Alor archipelago that we happened to stop by, and I was on a boat, and my wife and I went over to visit the little village one morning. And maybe it's very doubtful that many outsiders had been there at all. Maybe no outsiders had been there. This was a tiny little island. It sticks in my mind. It was about 5 kilometers across, and there's a couple of villages on there, that's all. And the headman was very excited because somebody had come to explore, and he wanted to take us to show us the main sites in the village. And near the top of the village, there was a huge iron anchor, which turned out to be probably from a Portuguese ship, maybe a galleon. And this anchor was near the top of the village. So we were asking the people, well, how did you get it from the beach up to the top of the village? And they were saying, no, it wasn't so difficult because we took it from the top of the mountain down to the village. So we were saying, well, how did it get to the top of the mountain then? And the people said, well, it wasn't so difficult in the old days because we're actually very small people now. They were saying, we're not very tall, we're not very big, but we used to be giants. Our forefathers were giants. So it was easy for them to carry it down from the top of the mountain. And then as we were talking to the headman, he was also saying that on the island, there were actually 4 tribes. One of them only has about 50 people in that tribe. So it's probably one of the smallest tribes in the world. And unfortunately, we had to leave on the boat. We were probably only there for 4 or 5 hours. But it sticks in my mind that that's an example of one very small little spot. And I was kind of blown away by how many stories there were there, how much amazing material you could get from a very small place. I mean, you couldn't make up the kind of stories that you can hear from local communities in Indonesia. For a writer, it's absolute godsend, eh?
Yeah, it's amazing, yeah. Actually, we have really to know more about that. Yeah, I think I'm also quite interested in that tribe. Yeah, you said only 50 people left. Yeah, so I think thank you, Mark. We have another question from Yvonne here. Mark, for the future, do you have plan to make the second book about Kopi Dulu and Indonesia artifact in the little island Indonesia, in the little islands of Indonesia?
On the smaller islands, the book is actually mostly okay. There was a lot of travel through Sumatra, through Java, through Kalimantan, Sulawesi, and even Papua. So yeah, there's quite a bit of focus on larger islands, but I would say the book mostly focuses on very small spots. Some of them very rarely written about, some of them maybe written about never before. As for I think the feeling was when I got to the end of the trip for this book, I really felt like I could do the whole thing all over again. So maybe Yvonne should ask Penguin if they want me to write Kopi Dulu too. I think it's a little bit early for that.
Yeah, after the successful first book, yeah, and then there will be the second one. Yeah. So it was a lot of work. Maybe I have a rest first. Huh? Thank you, Mark. So now I think because we don't have much time, for this precious moment. We would like. Is it okay if I would like to invite the distinguished guest tonight, Bapak Adriano, or maybe if you want to say something about this book, we would like to welcome you, Bapak. Time is yours, Pak.
Or maybe about the Indonesia tourism destinations.
Thank you for this opportunity. I just want to say congratulations to Mark, the author of this book. I haven't read yet, of course, because I haven't got that book. But I really curious with the story behind the title, Kopi Dulu. That's yes. Of course, I want to look for this book in the mass bookstore. Again, congratulations, Mark, for Indonesia to the global community. Yeah, I think the global community will learn a lot from your book. Thank you very much for this work, this interesting work.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Bapak. And of course, we really rely on you, Bapak, to further develop Indonesian tourism based on this book. Yeah, I think we can hope Bapak to Pak Andriano to really help Indonesian also to encourage to read the book. Yeah, Pak. Yeah. Maybe we will have another launch or maybe promotion with Pak Andriano. Yeah, Mark. The future soon. Yeah, thank you. Now we have another question. Thank you, Bapak. So now we have also other questions here in the chat, and you also participant, you can also raise your hand after this. You can talk directly like Bapak Andriano. We'll give you some moments for that. Here from Pak Tunggul, yeah. Hi, Mark. I'm Tunggul from the Jakarta Post newspaper. In your opinion, what is the primary reason behind Indonesia obscurity? Is it mostly ignorance from the Western press? Or do Indonesian writers need to improve how they convey their knowledge about the country? Very deep question, Mark.
That's an excellent question. And it's a question that, to be honest, I don't have a definite answer because it's a question I've been asking myself for maybe 25 years. I think there's maybe several aspects to this. One is that I think I would travel widely in Indonesia, and then I would pitch editors, and editors would often say to me, editors from fairly well-known international travel magazines, sometimes they would say, no, we can't focus on another. And it's really difficult to get editors to think about other areas. They know that Bali is center of tourism in Indonesia, basically. Java and Sumatra might get some coverage sometimes, but there's so much focus on one particular area. And I think partly it's geographical that, if you take the landmass, Indonesia is, I think, about half the size of India already. And yet you spread it out across an area. The distance that I traveled to work on these stories would have been about the equivalent of going from Paris to Bangkok. It's a huge area. I think that there's in the defense of people who don't realize what's going on in Indonesia, I think there's an aspect. When you fly into Indonesia, most backpackers that go into Indonesia go in on a 30-day visa. They have a fairly limited time to get to very remote locations sometimes. So all too often it's a flight into Bali, then maybe they visit Lombok and the Gillies, and they say, okay, that's it. I've done Indonesia. I've seen it. They really don't realize that there's so much else. I think things have changed in India now, but the first time I went to India, I'm pretty sure you got a 6-month visa and you could come and go as much as you want. I think if possibilities were there for people to travel much more widely, even as backpackers, the word would circulate for sure, and more people would want to know how much else there is in Indonesia. I think that answers the question.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mark, for that. There is another continuous question. Additional question from Jenny. Jenny again, yeah, or towards yeah. Sorry if I didn't pronounce correctly. Yeah. Hello, Mark. In your encounters with the different people of the islands, what was their number one cultural trait that stood out for you that you found fascinating or interesting?
Let me try and come up with something more original, but actually the hospitality is the big thing. I can't remember. I was reading something recently, and somebody was talking about how a situation could be dangerous, like walking into a jungle village. Hermes is here in this meeting. I've traveled with him in central Borneo, in quite remote places. I've stayed in hunters' camps in the middle of Borneo. I feel safer in an Indonesian camp or an Indonesian village than I would in most Western cities. There's definitely a very strong tradition of hospitality to travelers. And I think that's the biggest takeaway from Indonesia. And it's a cross-cultural thing and cross religion as well. You can be Muslim communities or Hindu or Christian or any kind of animist also. There will always be a tradition of hospitality. For me, I think that's almost a definite. As soon as you walk into an Indonesian village and you take time to relax and speak to people, maybe drink a kopi, then you will be welcomed for sure.
Yeah, thank you, Mark. Now I think I'll just read from Yvonne. Yeah, I think Mark and his team can make little stories about Kopi Dulu in YouTube channel as like the barbecue mountain boys. Make the Instagram, FB, Twitter, and TikTok committee. Yeah. So what do you think about that, Mark?
Great. Barbecue is perfect. I love barbecues. The barbecue mountain boys. It sounds interesting.
Nice. We should do that, yeah, soon, yeah. Okay. Thank you, Yvonne, for the such a brilliant idea, of course. And this is from Raja Nasution, yeah. I need this for sure. Motivated me a lot. I dream about create a book one day, but I have no courage to step further. But I think, Pak Raja, you by attending this launch event, I think you will be motivated even more. Yeah, will be supported by Mark as well, I think, and by Effie for Pak Raja to write. Yeah, sure. Yeah. Now I would like to.
And so the last from Teresa.
Yeah, from Teresa. Oh yeah. Hello, my name is Teresa, and I'm a book reviewer from Malaysia. I would like to know if Mark has plans on writing books on any other country, maybe Malaysia? What do you think, Mark?
That sounds like a leading question. I tell you what, Teresa, right? I think, what if we make a deal? First you review Kopi Dulu, and then I'll start to think about writing a book in Malaysia.
What do you think, what do you think, Teresa, with the challenge?
Boleh juga.
Ya, boleh ya. Okay, good.
Boleh
Yeah,
juga.
I'm game. Yeah, I'm in a game.
Okay,
Okay, deal,
it's a deal.
yeah. Okay, so now,
Deal.
thank you. I would like to invite here, you mentioned already ya about Bapak Hermas Maring ya, from Putusibau, Kalimantan.
Putusibau.
Yeah, Pak
Putusibau.
Pak Hermas, maybe you have some opinions about this book. What do you expect for this book? Maybe you can give some of your opinions, Bapak. Time is yours.
Thank you, Bu Denny. Hi, dude. Finally, yeah, the book is coming. I'm keen to read this book, but unfortunately, I have not yet. Yeah, so maybe in a short time I will get the copies, and then I can know what you written there. But I know that you wrote what we did in Mandehulu, the secret mountain, yeah, about the dead river, yeah, and yeah, Bu Denny, Bu Epi, and all, we travel with Mark in my place in Kapuas Hulu, yeah, I think around 2006, 2007, something like that, yeah, in a place, yeah. Even in my community, we have kind of mythology about Bukit Tilung. Yeah, Bukit Tilung is a place for a dead spirit to come to the paradise. So coming to that area is kind of something very brave, yeah, for a human like us. But we did with Mark this kind of crazy travel. We did with a small boat, yeah, with the local people there, and then
Boleh gila ya.
yeah, of course with a lot of coffee, with a lot of coffee in the forest, in the river. Yeah, I know Mark is very positive person that try to inform all the people about what he knows, what he saw. As far as I know, this is the second book he wrote for Kalimantan, especially for Kapuas Hulu, yeah. The first one is for Tree of Borneo, yeah. Also talking about his travel, his craziest travel, stepping pathway from Putusibau, West Kalimantan to east part of Kalimantan. And then this is the second one about Kopi Dulu. The most popular praise in Kapuas Hulu, in Kalimantan, in Indonesia, in Pontianak or in Kalimantan, we said ngopilo. Yeah, ngopilo means, yeah, just easy. Take your time, and then we can talk everything we would like to talk after having a cup of coffee. I think that's what I can say. But Denny, thank you. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Bapak. I think you are very lucky, yeah, to have your beautiful moments with Mark, yeah, travel with him. I hope one day I can have that privilege, yeah, to travel with Mark, yeah. Thank you. And now I would like to read also here from. If there is any particular aspect that you would more specifically write about Indonesia, would it be about the culture, flora and fauna, or culinary traditions? Culinary, I like that. What do you think about that, Mark?
Which I think in the book is probably an equal mix of all of them, actually. There's an old, they say the first advice to writers is that you should always write what you know about. And to be honest, the more I traveled in Indonesia, the more I was amazed by how much I didn't know. But you try to get to the bottom of the story by asking the right people and that kind of thing. But I think it's probably the mix of what I enjoy writing about and what I focused on in Kopi Dulu will be cultural, wildlife and conservation, and also food. I mean, there's amazing food everywhere you go, and I'm not sure. I feel like I'm not very squeamish about eating, but sometimes I had to push my comfort levels a little bit too far, especially in northern Sulawesi, in Minahasa area. They say in northern Sulawesi that the people eat everything with 4 legs except the table. but they also eat things with no legs and pretty much everything, actually. So I enjoy writing about food. I enjoy writing about the wildlife. I mean, not many people realize that Indonesia has the second highest biodiversity on the planet, and more mammals, almost more mammals than any other country in the world. But it also culturally, they say that 1 in 10 of the world's languages are spoken in Indonesia. I think it's such a rich country. You could actually set off and do exactly the same trip all over again and come out with a totally different book, probably with equally exciting stories and anecdotes.
Yeah, thank you, Mark. Here also Rira said that I see it now after hearing Mark's story behind the chosen title for the book. I feel like it's a kind of voicing a warm invitation to explore Indonesia deeply, for so rich and fascinating stories as he experienced. At first, I also thought that the book was about coffee culture in many regions of Indonesia. Yeah, we caught her. And I also thought the same, Ibu Rira, in the beginning, I thought it was all about coffee. Even I thought, Mark, did you choose because you came to Sumatra first, not Sumatra, that love coffee so much, But in the end, I know that it's not all about coffee, But the title's really catching, So, now, Mark, maybe because we don't have much time, we would like for any other question, we still have some maybe questions you can raise your hands, or you still write via chat or your opinions. But I would like to give you maybe last question from me, Mark. You hear the book, it was said that this book was written, dedicated for your beautiful wife, Narina. It's so touching.
Exactly.
You wrote this book for her. What is why? What are the special reasons? Maybe you can tell us about that first before I go to Narina.
Okay. No, you're not putting me under any pressure, right?
No, just be honest.
I'm gonna kind of dodge this question, but I'm gonna say the first person who's mentioned in the acknowledgements of the book. I said the first word of thanks must go to Narina Exelby, travel buddy, muse, and all-round soulmate. This book is infinitely richer for Narina's attention, as is my life. I think maybe that sums it up, right?
Yeah, it's already It's already explained.
And just in case she's watching.
So nice, Mark. Here, I would like to read her statements, about this book, because she couldn't bear here to read that to say that directly to you, but she wants us to read for you. I am exceptionally proud of Mark and all of the work and dedication that he has put in writing Kopi Dulu. Since his first trip to Borneo back in the 1990s, Indonesia and the people of Indonesia have been very close to Mark's heart. He has traveled the country extensively and read more books on the country than anyone I know. He is always curious to learn and understand more about the fascinating places and cultures around the archipelago. The times that I have traveled in Indonesia with Mark have been very special to me too. And it has been beautiful to watch the connections that he makes with people he travels. It's the connections that add immense depth to his experience and his understanding of the people he visits. Kopi Dulu is an exceptionally rich and layered book, one of that's packed with anecdotes and information and beautiful description of places that so many of us can only dream of visiting. It opens a window into a very special part of the world, and I am so excited for the book to be out on the shelves now, so that readers can have insight into what really is one of the most fascinating countries on the planet. This book is beautifully written, and I couldn't be prouder of Mark for what he has created. With smile. We have to applaud, Congratulations.
Well, very nicely said,
Very nice. Well,
that was very nice.
Marina. So
Thank
that's
you,
it, everyone. If if you want to raise your hand to say directly your statements to Mark, we still welcome you. Anyone?
Ini ada Rira.
Ya, Bu Rira.
And Pak Tunggul udah dibacain ya, Dan? Atau Pak Tunggul, you want say something again directly?
No, I'm good, thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Pak Tunggul. Now for the last moments, we have actually 2 books as a giveaways, yeah. But then for this, we would like to invite Mark to give some quiz, yeah, for the lucky participants here that can get the book, yeah. 2 books, right? Yeah, as a giveaway. I would like to invite one question from Mark and one question from the publisher, yeah. So first one will be from Mark. Maybe you want to give some quiz, or maybe anyone. I just for you to draw away one book. Okay, and it's yours, Mark.
Okay. All right. Let's ask somebody to say, in their opinion, which would be the most fascinating island? If they could visit any island in Indonesia, which would be the most fascinating to visit?
That's not a quiz question.
Sumatra.
Yeah, it's not a question, but more opinion.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Anyone? What islands? Yeah. Looks like Lucia wants to answer, yeah? Wanted to answer, yeah, Lucia? No?
Lucia wants to answer?
I read half.
I think we can go with the best.
Mansi too.
Mansi, please.
Yes. I have read half book only till now, Sumatra and Jakarta part. So I think Sumatra would be my answer, according to the Kopi Dulu book.
I'm so proud that you, Mansi.
Is that true? What?
I'm so glad,
And I'm
Mansi,
sure
that
Denny
you
is
chose
happy.
Sumatra. Yeah,
Like I'm fascinated by that description much more than Jakarta, as sir has described in the book.
Okay, the book goes to Mansi, yeah, Mark?
I think that's a great answer.
Okay,
So we
thank you.
congratulate Mansi to have the first book, yeah? So now I would like
Itu Pak Tunggul Raja Ampat.
Now I would like to find the second question for the second book, free book.
Papua, it must be.
Yeah,
Yes, Mark.
from the publisher, from Penguin Random House, Chatai or Nora?
Okay, this is an easy question. How many islands are there in Indonesia? Or should I say, yeah. You can find the answer in the blurb, actually. very, very, very easy.
It's only a rough estimate, but that will do.
Yeah. So what is a rough estimate of the number of islands that make up Indonesia?
Ayo,
Good
siapa
question.
Yeah.
What would I do with 2 books? So I am quiet.
Ayo, berapa ini? Pak Satrio? Mungkin Pak Tunggul?
Someone mentioned in the chat section.
It's on the answer. It's on.
Rira tuh, Dan. Rira.
Rira. Iya, Ibu Rira. Berapa, Bu? Rira? No? Enggak, bukan. Siapa ini?
No, di chat dia itu.
Oh, di chat.
Around 70,000 cents.
Coba ya.
Yes.
Benarkah? Ini kalau
Mark, can we accept 17 to 18,000?
Well, that's one of the estimates. Can I give the answer?
Yes.
Officially, it said. I think Marina knows.
Around that. 50,000.
Okay, go lower. I'm going to give hints. Down. I'll keep going till we get close. Have we got
Yvonne too. Then Yvonne.
Can I answer it? Okay.
Yes.
The answer is 16,671 island in Indonesia.
Mark, sir is saying more lower, I think.
More lower.
Most
So what do you
13,000, I guess.
did you say? How many?
13,000 around.
13.
16.
Yeah. The official count, that's the closest. I think you got the closest.
So who is the closest now?
The official count as at the moment is 13,466.
Yeah.
But there have been other estimates as well.
But Nancy already got the first one.
Yeah,
It's not fair.
obviously.
Yeah, we should go. We
Obviously.
should give to the other one.
Yes, obviously, what would I do with the two books? But I read in the academic part, na. I have a section of Indonesia in my academics too. That's why I know.
Oh.
But they're still I think they're still counting. So maybe we'll change.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Maybe so another one more book, yeah, to go. Maybe I can give one question. Is that okay? Easy one. Yeah. For as mentioned by Mark, yeah, in the story, during the conversation, there is one area in Indonesia that actually eats everything with 4 legs. Which area is that?
Yes. Rira has it, right?
Yeah, what's it? Apa jawabannya tuh?
Rira Minahasa, Yvonne Sulawesi, Teresa North Sulawesi.
Ya, Rira Minahasa ya. Correct ya.
It's the Minahasa area. Everybody's right, but the first answer was Minahasa area of North Sulawesi.
So it's
Correct.
Rira. Okay, congratulations for Rira. Yeah, so we already have given away 2 books of Kopi Dulu. So enjoy reading and then encourage other people also to read the beautiful written book. Yeah. So thank you everyone for this beautiful moment, the launch. Thank you Ibu Nora Nazaren from the Penguin Random House Southeast Asia. Thank you Chai. Thank you Mark. Thank you Mbak Evi. Thank you everyone. Especially thank you very much ya for Bapak Andrinov, Pak Tunggul, Jenny, Dominikus, Erika, Nandang, and everyone here, Pak Raja. Thank you so much for this beautiful moment. We hope this book will bring good things for Indonesia and the future of development of tourism in Indonesia. Thank you very much and enjoy your weekend. Bye-bye.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Mark. And we will send the special T-shirt from Asmat Festival for our special guest today. And some of you from Indonesia who already asked questions in the chat room. Yeah. Later we will contact. Please give your address to us, like Rita and others, and Pak Tunggul, yeah, to us, and we will send the exclusive T-shirt for you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Can I just say thank you? I just want to say thank you very much to Nora and the excellent team at Penguin, and to Evi and Denny and Chai for setting up this excellent meeting. And thank you very much for everybody who joined, whether it's Friday evening or Saturday morning or Saturday night. Thank you for coming along.
Thank you. Thank you.